would you judge the last 20 years?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to see the end of colonial rule. I never supported colonialism. And then Beijing promised us one country, two systems, and a high degree of autonomy. But in the last 10, 15 years especially, we've come under increasing pressure and interference from Beijing. So people fear that Beijing is not going to keep the promise. There may be even one country, one system one day if they destroy Hong Kong's core values. I agree with Carrie Lam and others. Hong Kong is very precious to us and to the mainland and hopefully to the world. But we have to have one country, two systems.
Well, and I know that is, that is the core of the concern there, in Hong Kong. But I want to look at the economic consequences of that, Emily. What exactly do you see is Hong Kong's role in the next 20 years? We know that in '97, they were a financial hub, right? Or Hong Kong is a financial hub, and it continues to be. But what do you see as the role in the next 20 years for Hong Kong, economically speaking?
Well, we hope that we will continue to be a financial hub. And as your big names just said, the rule of law is very important. And I'm happy to say that we still have the rule of law in Hong Kong, in spite of cases of the Chinese sending people to Hong Kong to snatch Hong Kong people, to abduct them, like the Causeway Bay bookshop Li Bo, or this Chinese businessman Xiao Jianhua from the Four Seasons Hotel. And that even the British government attacked China, saying that's in breach of the Sino-British Joint Declaration. But our judiciary is still very independent. We still have very strong, independent legal system. So as a financial center, I hope we will continue to prosper. And also, as an international business center, we also think Hong Kong should continue to prosper.
But how come that hasn't been linked closer? Meaning, some of the cases that you mentioned are very disturbing, we know, and have been covered well in the press. How come that hasn't scared away business as much as you might expect it to?
Well, I've been talking to business people and lawyers and so on, and they say, yes, there is actually quite a bad international perception, because people are being abducted from Hong Kong, but we have other things which continue to attract. But you are right, we may become less attractive. And then now Mr. Xi Jinping, the president, is here on the eve of the 20th anniversary, and the news headline is dominated by Liu Xiaobo, who has got terminal cancer, and everybody wants him to be able to come to the United States for treatment. And the journalists shout question at President Xi when he landed at the airport. So you can see even the problems in mainland China, the freedom, the lack of rule of law in China is coming into Hong Kong and affecting us.
Emily, I know that you participated in the protest, the pro-democracy movement that became known as the Umbrella Revolution, as we know. The momentum behind that was lost pretty quickly, though, and I know a lot of people were disappointed, but is there a sense that the pragmatism of people living in Hong Kong that rely on the financial hub, the efficiency of the system, as you say, the rule of law and everything that comes with it, is sort of overwhelming the momentum that needs to come, behind an actually effective pro-democracy movement?
Well, Hong Kong people are pragmatic, you're right. And I have been elected by them on 7 occasions. I've never lost an election, and I know my people. They are pragmatic, they don't support revolution or violence, but they want democracy. And they want us to continue to tell Beijing and the international community that's what we want. And in spite of the pictures that you are now seeing, Hong Kong is one of the safest and most peaceful city in the world. And it's this way because the people here want it. So we want the international community to come here, to do business, to trade, to visit. But we want freedom, and we want democracy, and we want one country, two systems.
Yeah, it is fair to point out that we have, despite those pictures, that there were many moments of goodwill, of calm over those many weeks that we saw the protests take place in downtown Hong Kong. But Emily, I mean, you say you're pragmatic as well as being idealistic about what you want for Hong Kong. Over the next 20 years, what's the best case scenario that you can expect? And what's the best way of engaging with Beijing to try and get to these aspirations that you have?
Well, on July 1st, Carrie Lam will be sworn in as chief executive. She has said her top priority is to work with the Legislative Council, which consists of many pro-democracy legislators, including those from my party. I hope Beijing will allow her to engage with the pro-democracy camp, with different parties, so that she can get her policies, her bills passed in the Legislative Council, and to heal this city, which has been split asunder by C.Y. Leung. We're so glad to see the back of him. So if Kerry can work with us and can create a peaceful environment, there will be a better future for Hong Kong, and that's what we Hong Kong people look forward to.
Emily, I want to replay for you an interview that we did with Stephen Roach, who I'm sure you know his name, is someone who's a longtime China watcher and economist. And this is what he said about Hong Kong's future.
I think the next 10, 20 years are still quite secure for Hong Kong as China's window to international capital markets, given the talent pool, the institutional framework, and the well-established companies that have been dealing there. I think beyond that time frame, you can raise some serious questions about the future of Hong Kong, given the growth of financial markets in places like Shanghai.
Do you agree with that?
Well, I think we have a good future. We are well placed, but the people are distracted. The people are worried. So, and this is not that we are fighting for independence or we are going to wage a revolution. It's only if the Beijing authority and the Hong Kong authority would relax, have confidence in the people. Let us work together. Let us have democratic elections. But we are still a part of the People's Republic of China. I still cannot go to mainland China. Do you know? I have not been allowed to go there for 20-odd years. And some of the pro-democracy people have been banned. Lift the ban. Let us all work together. And I'm sure we will still be the most prosperous, most peaceful, and hopefully the most democratic city in the People's Republic of China.
Emily, I want to get your thoughts on some of the domestic issues facing Hong Kong, because it isn't just about this promise of democratic independence that many feel that has been broken, but also housing unaffordability. The wealth disparity is one of the worst in the world in Hong Kong. What do you think needs to be done by Carrie Lam to address some of these domestic issues that are making Hong Kongers unhappy?
Well, I think we should improve education because that's the best way to lift people out of poverty. And Kerry has said that. I hope her plans will be supported by the Legislative Council. We should provide our people with better housing. There are people living in Hong Kong, which is in the size of maybe 2 or 3 of these tables. It's one subdivided cubicle. And we have so many people living in such abject poverty. The young people are very, very angry. They feel hopeless. That's why they want independence. But if we give them better housing, better education, so that they can have better jobs, I think the mood will change. Kerry wants to do that. That's what she said.
Emily.